Hello guys, I gave an interview in a company called Swarna Sky, and that company is located in Hyderabad. And the interview date was May 6, 2025. So they asked me what is the difference between the array merge and array combined. So I said, let's suppose we have two array 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and another array 6, 7, 8, 9. So if we use the merge array function here, so the output we'll get is the key and value like 0 equal to 1, and it will go like 8 equal to 9. So this is the array merge. In the case of the array combined, if we have two arrays same 1 to 5 and 6 to 9, and we use the array combined function, so it will give a error. It will give an error. Argument 1 keys and argument must have the same number of elements. So what is the issue? The function array combined array 1 array 2 require that both arrays must have the same number of elements so that it become keys and value. So combines array combined is not suitable in this case because both arrays need to have the same length, and we don't have any key value pairs here. Uh, so if we want to run this code, so then we have to make array 1 equal to 1 to 5 and array 2 equal to 6 to 10, then use the array combined array 1 array 2, so it will give the output 1 equal to 6, 2 equal to 7, 3 equal to 8, 4 equal to 9, and 5 equal to 10. Okay, so the explanation is array combined pairs elements from array as keys and array 2 as values. Okay, they asked me write down the third highest salary in MySQL query. So let's have we have one employees table, and we have some name and salary in this table, and so the query to find the third highest salary. So the query is select distinct salary from employees, order by salary disk, limit 1 and offset 2. Okay, so what is the new thing in this? One is that we have to use the distinct clause and this offset 2. Okay, so limit 1, that means it will show only one row, and offset 2 means it won't see your last two records, it will show the third record. Okay, so what if there are multiple same value in the third highest salary? So the query is similar, as we know that the select distinct salary from employee, order by salary disk, limit 1 offset 2. But what we have to do here is we have to make it subquery. So the main query will be the select star from employees where salary equal to, and then inside that we have to write the select distinct salary from employee, order by salary disk, limit 1 offset 2. Okay, they asked me optimize website in the code level in PHP. So I said use output buffering, like instead of sending output immediately, buffer it and send it all at once. Second, avoid repeated function calls like we are using for $I equal to 0, I equal to less than count array, and I plus plus. So this is a bad practice. So good practice is you have to declare a variable $length equal to count array, then for $I equal to 0, I equal to less than uh, length and I plus plus. Okay, third is the use isset or empty instead of strlen or comparison. If isset $get id, then this will be faster than check-in. Use prepared statement like the PDO or MySQLi. So prevent SQL injection and reduce the parsing overhead. Like $stmt PDO prepared select star from user where ID equal to question mark stmt execute ID. Okay. Fifth, cache expensive operations. Use file based Redis or Memcache caching. Simple file caching. You have a variable $cache file, cache data JSON. Then if file exists, cache file end time, file time cache file. So then data JSON decode file get element get true, else false. Okay, else data is equal to get expensive data, file put content, cache file, JSON, encode data. Minimize use of include required in loops, move them outside loop, or use autoloading, SPL, autoload register, or composer. Use for each instead of the arrays. For each $array as key value, more efficient for the associative arrays. Enable PHP opcode cache in production. Enable opcache in the php.ini. Opcache.enable equal to 1. Opcache memory consumption 128. Opcache internal string buffer 8. Opcache max accelerated file 1000 10,000. Avoid deep nesting and use early return. Bad. If bad practices, if $user and user is active, okay, and then we are making it deep nested this thing. So this is the bad practice. Good practice is if user is not, and then or not user is active, then return continue. Okay. Use efficient data structure. Use in array for small list, but is set on the associative array in faster if asset list key. Okay. Another one is profile and benchmark. Use tool like the Xdebug, WebGrind, K, CacheGrind, Blackfire.io, Tideway. Okay. They ask me what is transactions in MySQL. So in SQL, a transaction is a set of operations that are executed as a single unit. These operations can include multiple SQL statements such as insert, update, or delete. Transactions ensure that the database contains its integrity and consistency according to the ACID properties: atomicity, consistency, isolation, and durability. So basic transaction commands: start transaction, initiate a transaction, commit, save all changes made during the transaction to the database, rollback, rollback, undo all the changes made during the transaction, returning the database to its state before the transaction began. So basic SQL transaction example: start transaction, perform some operation, update account, set balance minus 1000 where account ID is equal to 1. Update account, set balance equal to balance plus 100 where account ID is equal to 2. If everything is correct, commit the change, commit. Rollback a transaction. If something goes wrong during the transaction, you can use rollback to undo the changes. Okay. Here, if an error occur before the commit statement, the rollback ensures that no changes are applied to the database. Okay. So that okay. So transaction, that is ACID: atomicity, consistency, isolation, durability. The concept of transaction in database is defined by the ACID properties, which ensure that the data operations are processed reliably. Here is a breakdown of each component of ACID. Atomicity means all or nothing. A transaction is treated as a single unit, meaning either all of its operations are executed or none. Example: if a transaction involves transferring money from one account to another, both the debit from the account and the credit to the other must succeed. If one fails, the entire transaction is rolled back, ensuring no partial update. Consistency, that is the valid state. Definition: a transaction takes the database from one state to another valid state. It ensures that the rules and constraints of the database, such as foreign key, checks, etc., are always maintained. Example: if a rule says that the balance in an account cannot be negative, a transaction that tries to withdraw more money than the available balance will fail, keeping the data consistent. Isolation, that is independent execution. Definition: transactions are executed in isolation, meaning that the operations of one transaction are not visible to other until the transaction is complete. This ensures that transactions do not interfere with each other. For example, if two users try to transfer money from same account simultaneously, isolation ensures that the final result is correct, as if they were proceed one after another, even if they were proceed at the same time. Durability, Definition: once a transaction is committed, its changes are permanent. Even in the case of system crash or failure, the database ensures that the changes are returned to the non-volatile storage, that is like a disk. Example: if transaction to transfer money is committed and the system crash afterward, the transactions affected money transfer will still be preserved when the system resolved. So the bottom line is atomicity: everything happen or nothing happens. Consistency: data moves from one valid state to another. Isolation: transactions don't affect each other's operation. Durability: once a transaction is complete, its changes are permanent. How do you call store procedure? So you can call store procedure in MySQL using the call statement. So basic syntax: call, procedure name, parameter 1 to dot dot dot. Example: a stored procedure is a prepared SQL code that you can save. So the code can be reused over and over again. So if you have SQL query that you write over and over again, save it as a stored procedure and then just call it to execute it. For example, you have one database company, you have created a table employees, and you have some parameter ID, name, department, salary, or we can say that we have the columns. Then insert some dummy data, then use the create procedure, get all employees, begin, select start from employee, end. Okay, so delimiter: call to store procedure, call get all employees. Okay, so first of all you have inserted, then create procedure, get all employees, then begin, select start from employee, and delimiter, then call the store procedure, call get all employees. Okay, they asked me another question: double equal to and triple equal to. So let's have we have x equal to triple equal to hello. H is capital and all others letters are in the small letter. Check both value and type. Does not perform type conversion. Okay, so $x equal to, let us suppose you have assigned a variable $x equal to hello, where dump $x equal to hello. So it will give the true because both the element are same. If where dump equal to, if you are using $x equal to small h, it will show the false. Where dump $x equal to 5, it will show the false. Now double equal to hello, loose comparison, perform type correction. Okay, if $x equal to hello, capital H, and all others are in small. If $x where dump $x equal to hello, so it will show the false because of the case sensitive comparison. Okay, where dump 5 equal to 5, true. String 5 is converted to the number 5. Where dump 0 equal to false, true. Type correction, 0 is converted or false. Okay, so always remember, in the variables are case sensitive. Okay, how do you declare variable in PHP? In PHP, variables are declared using a $sign, dollar followed by the variable name, like the dollar variable name equal to value. Rules for declaring variables: so it must start with the dollar. The variable name must start with the letter or underscore. Cannot start with the number. Variable name are case sensitive. So another question they asked me immediately: limitation to declare a variable. So as I have already said, must start with a $sign. Variable name must begin with the letter or underscore. Cannot start with the number. Only allowed character, that is A to Z, capital or small, numbers 0 to 9, and underscore. Case sensitive, variable name are case sensitive. Third, reversed keyword. Avoid using PHP, not reverse, this is reserved word. So reserved keyword, like avoid using the PHP reserved keyword like the class, function, echo. Cannot use special character. Variable name cannot contain space or special character or symbols like the @ minus, hash, etc. They ask me what is the difference between the primary key and the unique key. Okay, so enforce unique value in the primary key, and in the unique key enforce unique value. Okay, so in the case of primary key, null value not allowed. Here in the unique key, allowed, can have one or more nulls. So number per table in the primary key only one, in the case of the unique key multiple. Default index type, so cluster index in primary key, that is INNODB, and in the case of unique key non-cluster index. So unique identifier each row in primary. The unique key enforce alternate unique constant. Index created in the primary key, yes, automatically created. In unique key also, yes, automatically created. Can be composite, yes, multiple columns in the case of the what do we call primary key. Same in the case of unique key, yes, multiple columns in the composite. Null behavior, no null value allowed in any column in the primary key. So null allowed unless explicitly restricted in the case of the unique key. Declaration primary key column in the primary key, and unique column or unique ID name in the unique ID. Default for entity identity like ID in the primary key. In the unique key, alternate keys, that is email username. Okay. So let's say we are creating a table users, ID into primary key, that is primary key, email varchar unique, that is unique key, username varchar unique, that is another unique key. Okay. So what is the difference between the clustered index and non-clustered? So data order clustered, physically stored. Non-cluster, data is stored separately. Count per table only one in the clustered, many in the case of non-clustered. Speed for PK lookup faster in the clustered, slower in the non-clustered. Space uses non-extra copy of data in clustered, extra storage index in the non-clustered. Index type primary key in the clustered and unique or normal index in the non-clustered. Can unique key be null? If yes, how many values? Yes, a column with a unique key in MySQL can contain null values. So then they ask me how many null values are allowed. So MySQL allows multiple null value in the unique key column. This is because in SQL null equal to not null is doesn't equal to null. Each null is treated as a different unknown value. So MySQL treat multiple null as not duplicate. Okay, so let's say you are creating a table employees. You have ID primary key, you have email unique, and then you are inserting some dummy data ID email value 1 and email ID, another dummy data 2 and null, another 3 and null. So this is allowed. Given an array A to A B C A B D F D C, count the alphabet function. So I said there is one PHP function, dollar result is equal to array underscore count underscore values dollar a. So print our result. So output will be a is equal to 2 times, b is equal to 2 times, c is equal to 2 times, d is equal to 2 times, f is equal to 1 time. They ask me trait in PHP. So PHP does not support multiple inheritance directly because a class in PHP can inherit from only one parent class. These restrictions avoid the complexity and ambiguity of the diamond problem, which can occur in the multiple inheritance. So let's say you have a trait loggers, public function $message, log message. Another trait is trait notifier, public function notify message, notification message. Then you have created a class use logger notifier. So public function create name, user $name created, this log create user $name, this notify user $name has been added. So then you have created a what do you call a object $user equal to new user, then user create user alias. So the output will be the user alias created, log created, user alias, notification user alias has been added. They ask me difference between the PHP 7 and PHP 8. So speed or comparison. So speed of PHP 7 is fast, but PHP 8 is even faster because of the JIT engine. Name argument PHP 7 no, PHP 8 yes. Match expression PHP 7 no, PHP 8 yes. Null safe operator PHP 7 no, PHP 8 yes. Attribute annotation PHP 7 no, PHP 8 yes attribute. Union type PHP 7 string, PHP 8 no. Constructor promotion PHP 7 no, PHP 8 yes. str content etc. PHP 7 no, PHP 8 yes. JIT compiler PHP 7 no, PHP 8 yes. Old functions still available in PHP 7, some removed or changed in PHP 8. What is a JIT? That is a just-in-time compiler. Instead of running PHP code line by line like usual, JIT compiles part of the code into machine level instruction just before they are needed, making it run faster, especially for the complex or repeated tasks. So here is a clear view showing the time comparison between PHP 7 and PHP 8 with JIT using the each prime example. Let's say you are creating one prime number program. Function is prime num is less than 1, return false. $I equal to 2, I is less than equal to sqrt $num I plus plus. If num ampersand I equal to 0, return false, otherwise return true. Start equal to micro time true, count equal to 0, I equal to 1, I equal to less than equal to 10,000, I plus plus. So if is prime $I, so count plus plus, and micro time true. Echo total prime number account, echo time taken, and minus start seconds. So if we sample timing result PHP 7.8 1.8 second, PHP 8 no GIT 1.7 second, PHP 8 with GIT 1.1 second. So the conclusion is JIT can improve performance, especially for the CPU heavy loops or calculation. Not a big boost for typical website tasks like rendering HTML, but great for the data processing. Step to enable JIT: find the php.ini file, then opcache enable 1, opcache enable CLI1, opcache JIT buffer size 100 M, opcache JIT equal to 1255. New feature in PHP 8. So JIT that boost performance, especially for the heavy computation. Union types allow multiple types in the parameter returns. Named argument pass argument by name, not just by the order. Match expression a better alternative to switch, safer and more concise. Null safe operator avoid null errors when chaining calls. That is user profile email. Attributes add metadata to classes function along attribute. Constructor property promotion declare and assign class property directly in the constructor. New string function string contain string start with $str ends with. Static return type function can now return static type. Weak maps better memory management for object in cache. Improve error handling, more consistent and helpful error messages. So these questions they asked me, and the company name was the Swarna Sky Hyderabad. Interview date was the May 6, 2025. Even they asked me one more question like what is the difference between the interface and abstraction. So just give me a second. So they asked me what is the interface class and what is the abstract class. So I said if you don't know anything about implementation, just we have requirement specification, then we should go for the interface. In abstract class, if we are talking about implementation but not completely partial implementation, then we should go for the abstract class. Inside interface, every method is always public and abstract whether we are declaring or not. Hence interface is also considered a 100% pure abstract class. In the case of the abstract class, every method present in abstract class need not to be public and abstract. In addition to abstract method, we can take concrete method also. We can declare interface method with following modifier: public, private, protected, abstract, final, static, synchronized, native, str, strict fp. We can declare abstract method no restriction on the abstract class method modifiers. Fourth, every variable present inside interface is always public, static, and final, whether we are declaring or not. In the case of the abstract class, the variable present inside abstract class need not to be public, static, and final. Fifth, we can't declare interface variable with the following modifier: private, protected, transit, volatile. So in abstract class, here are no restriction on abstract class variable modifier. For interface variable compulsory, we should perform the initialization at the time of the declaration, otherwise we will get the compile time error. For abstract classes variable, it is not required to perform initialization at the time of the declaration. Inside interface, we can't declare interface and static blocks, otherwise we will get compile time error. Inside abstract class, we can declare instance and static blocks. Inside interface, we can't declare constructor. Inside abstract class, we can declare constructor which will be executed at the time of the child object creation. Note 1. Since Java 8 interface can have default and static method also. Note 2. Abstract class can have final, non-final, static and non-static variables. Note 3. Serialization implementation is possible in the interface using the maker interface. So these questions asked by the Swarna Sky Hyderabad company, and the interview date was the May 06, 2025. I will share more interview question. Till then, bye.